What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and at this point, it's no secret that police and detectives totally botched the investigation when it comes to these three Kansas City Chiefs fans that were found frozen to death in their friend's backyard. And now they're doing damage control. Now you're going to see law enforcement sources, former law enforcement officers, popping out of the woodworks, doing interview, running damage control for this police department, because you see, these law enforcement agencies, they all stick together. And I'm not a defund the police type of guy. I'm definitely not down for that. I understand the importance and the need for law enforcement, but I'm also not this back the blue, cops are always right, cops are always good. I'm not that delusional either. We have a lot of bad cops in this country and all over the world. We have a lot of cops and investigators that totally dropped the ball on these cases, and they totally dropped the ball on this case. But now that this case has gained national attention, now that everyone's talking about it, now that I'm talking about it and other YouTubers are talking about it, those TikTokers are talking about it, these news outlets are talking about it, now all of a sudden the police are playing catch up, trying to catch up with this investigation, doing things that they should have been doing since day one, but it's too late. It's too late in many ways, because if you're trying to build a solid case against Jordan or someone else here, think about everything they messed up. There's no going back to this scene, because this scene is not in the same state that it was in when these three individuals were there. And Jordan. Jordan's already out of the house. The homeowner's already come in, changed things around. There's no going back to the scene and finding any clues. That's over and done with. Now, police could have taken pictures of this, they could have taken pictures of that, but we know for a fact they left behind people's belongings. In a case like this one, when we're dealing with a possible overdose, the last thing you do as an investigator is leave pill bottles at the scene where you find these bodies. They found these three bodies. Everyone assumed it was drugs. And you have pill bottles literally sitting here at the scene, and police left them behind, did not collect them at all. They left jackets, backpacks, you name it. Almost everything. They just left it at the scene. Left it at the scene for Jordan to tamper with. This situation, this investigation was conducted so horribly that police came in, they found the bodies, they handcuffed Jordan, they let Jordan go, and then Jordan goes back in the house, police leave, and Jordan has the ample opportunity to tamper with whatever evidence was there, because law enforcement never did their jobs. So when it comes to this situation, we're looking at a real reality where Jordan or someone else could be charged for these three men's death, but it's going to be difficult to do so without certain evidence. And law enforcement doesn't have that evidence. So I don't know if we're going to see charges or we may see some lawsuits. I would not be surprised if we see some lawsuits against Jordan. So even if Jordan doesn't go to jail, Jordan's probably going to get sued. But with that being said, let's go ahead and roll this news clip. Let's look at some of the damage control that's going on, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts. Now, before I roll this clip, though, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. But with that being said, let's roll that beautiful bean footage, and I'll be right back.
Someone dies while someone is in the commission of a felony, you can be charged with murder, and in many states, it is death penalty. So I'm just sort of flummoxed by the idea that this house was not a crime scene. Does any of it make sense to you?
Well, good evening, Ashley. It's been a while. It's good to be back with you. I will tell you from the beginning of this thing, this happened, about 3 weeks ago? And I'm a little surprised at the this call for these answers to be immediate. In the fast food world we live in here, it's like they want the 43 minutes of a television show with no commercials, and it just doesn't work that way. It's a tragic, tragic scene. I don't know that it wasn't secured by those officers that responded. There is a video out that purportedly shows that they had Willis in custody at the time that they arrived. I've also read where another person that was going to the scene approached it. There were police everywhere, and there was some caution tape, to use their term, around the house. So that would indicate to me that there was some sort of crime scene tape causing a barrier, which would indicate that they have secured the scene. Now, as far as what was recovered there and so forth and so on, we won't know that until we understand what law enforcement presents to us as what they recovered. In terms of a felony.
But wait, because we absolutely know at this point that, as Ricky Johnson was dead and frozen out in the backyard that we're looking at right now, his backpack was sitting in that home. And when Jordan Willis, the owner, moved out because he was under so much scrutiny, he went off into hiding, and now he's in rehab. The backpack was still there. It was another connection, another family friend that brought Ricky's backpack out of that home and over to his family to reunite his belongings with his family. And I just can't for the life of me figure out, if you have 3 dead men mysteriously in the backyard, and you've cuffed the homeowner and then uncuffed him and taken him downtown to question him, how would you not process that scene a little more carefully? How would you not take a backpack of one of the victims and notice 2 bottles that have pills in them, one antacid and ibuprofen? Maybe, I don't know, and no one will never know because no one bothered to look.
Well, and I don't either. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know if there were pictures taken and they felt like that was good enough. I don't know, but
wouldn't be good for a felony murder case, would it, Phil? Honestly, like, it would not hold muster in a felony murder case, right? Because somebody would say, I want to test those pills. You can't. Sorry, we left them in the house.
We are so far away from a felony murder case with this thing that
are we?
That's not. Oh yeah. This is, look, I tell you what needs to happen here, in my view. And I'm looking at this through the eyes of a homicide cop. I'm not looking at it, with any particular. I've got no dog in the fight in that sense. Yeah. What I'm looking at here is we have a scene. We have 3 dead bodies in the backyard, and the circumstances under which they're there is what's in question. Now, we've got this tox test that we've not been given the official results, but if we're talking about a mixture of cocaine, fentanyl, THC, they were smoking dope, and I don't know if there's ethanol, alcohol involved in this thing or not, but a lot of these drugs, a lot of these narcotics that are taken cause the body to heat up in an abnormal way. And what do people do when that happens? So they move outside.
They go outside. Yeah. You're right. And I was asking if the bodies had their clothes removed, because that was another big question. I have to wrap it there, Phil, but I think you're onto something with that. I think you're on. Real quickly,
I've seen this mostly with MDMA, with methylene dioxymethamphetamine, ecstasy, where the body heats up and people will take their clothes off, run out in the dead of winter to get cooled down. So I don't know if that's what happened here. So my question is, these are grown men celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs game. They won it. They're really celebrating. And they're doing it in this, they ingested this stuff voluntarily. They got outside. So my question here is, were they dead as a result of what they took? Or did they pass out because of the intoxication and they froze to death?
Yep. And that we don't know. And you're right. Autopsy's going to bring that, and we are waiting for that. That's why no one says they froze to death. We don't know that. No one says they OD'd. We don't know that. Could be a combo. I got to leave it there. Phil Waters, thank you. Appreciate it. As always, you've got such great wisdom.
We're so far away from murder charges right now. Sir, are you aware that it's 2024? Do you guys realize that every single day people are getting charged with murder for selling this stuff to people, for giving people fentanyl? Every single day people are getting charged with murder. And you see, I was talking about this and ranting about this yesterday. This is why you got to be careful with these professionals and these former law enforcement officers. I don't know when the last time this guy did real work was, but it was probably before fentanyl was even on the streets, okay? So maybe this guy isn't aware of the reality that we're currently living in. But all it will take, folks, instead of always believing these dumbass professionals that pop up on the news, just Google, do your own research. It will take 15 seconds to go and see that people every day are getting charged with murder for supplying certain stuff to their friends, their loved ones, strangers, you name it, every single day. Yeah, he gets on the news, oh, we're so far away from that. We're so far away from that. This is him running damage control for his cop buddies. Regardless if he knows them or not, he's going to defend them. He's going to say things to make them look better because that's what they do. They protect their own. It's like a big gang, if you will. And to be clear, like I was saying earlier, I have nothing against law enforcement when they're doing their job, but we do have a lot of crooked cops out here. We do have a lot of people who aren't doing their job. And unfortunately, instead of people calling out crooked cops, instead of people pointing out when law enforcement isn't doing their job, people get defensive. Like we must defend them. And I understand because we live in sensitive times where you got these, crazed activist lunatics that want to dismantle police departments. I'm not on that. I'm not on that type of vibe at all. I just want honesty. And I hate when I know something's wrong and then someone else speaks out. That guy that's on the news, he knows this is wrong. But he's going to defend them and he's going to basically try to gaslight people into thinking that this is normal. This investigation hasn't been normal. And you're not going to gaslight me or my audience into believing that murder charges couldn't be handed out here when murder charges are getting handed out every single day for similar situations. In fact, usually it's involving less people. Right now, we got 3 people on our hands who all lost their lives. Now, with that being said, do I think Jordan or someone else will get charged? Probably not. Because like I was explaining, they totally dropped the ball and botched this investigation. And, in this community in particular, you have to be careful saying stuff like that because people get upset, right? So you look around and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the elephant in the room. But I'm going to acknowledge the elephant in the room. And the elephant is me. I mean, just kidding. But the elephant is the fact that the police told you within 24 hours before any toxicology report, before any autopsy report, they said this isn't foul play. And then every day since then, we've learned of new details about how they dropped the ball in this case, about how they left evidence, how they left this, how they left that. And they don't even know where Jordan is. They have no idea where Jordan is. All of this stuff. And yes, I know that Jordan is supposedly in rehab. Police have no confirmation of that. So it's clear to me that law enforcement did not take this case seriously. They were going to write it off as just another OD because this happens a lot. And they were just going to not even deal with it. But because of the public pressure, now they're playing catch up. And now they're going to be running damage control, making excuses for themselves. And I'm going to call out all of those excuses. Because when you have 3 men that mysteriously pop up dead in someone's backyard, you need to do your job at that moment. Not retroactively, not, I'm going to go back and do my job 6 weeks later. No, that very moment, it should have been taken seriously. But for now, let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via CashApp, or you can help the channel in many ways by liking, subscribing, ringing that notification, and all of that stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.